Hello guys. Today we're talking about English tips specifically for Spanish speakers.
Yes, we'll cover common mistakes, false friends, and tricky words for Spanish speakers.
Alright, let's start with some common mistakes Spanish speakers make in English.
One big mistake is confusing fun and funny. Spanish speakers mix these up often.
Yes, fun means something enjoyable, but funny means something that makes you laugh.
Exactly. It's important to remember that difference to avoid confusion.
Another common mistake is with do and make. In Spanish, there's only one verb, hacer.
Yes, do is used for tasks, like do homework. Make is for creating, like make a cake.
So in theory, keeping that rule in mind helps Spanish speakers avoid this common error.
That's right. Another tricky part is prepositions, especially in and on.
Prepositions are difficult. For example, we say in the car, but on the bus.
Exactly. In Spanish, it's just en. But in English, prepositions change based on context.
Actually, using prepositions correctly unlocks the ability to speak more naturally.
Yes. And don't forget articles like the and a. They are not used the same way in Spanish.
Right. In English, we say a car or the car. In Spanish, it's often just el carro.
Now let's talk about false friends, words that look similar but have different meanings.
Yes. One big false friend is actual. In Spanish, actual means current, but in English,
actual means real. The Spanish word actual translates to current in English.
Exactly. Another example is sensible. In Spanish, it means sensitive, but in English?
In English, sensible means practical or reasonable. It's a common confusion.
Yes. False friends can be tricky, but recognizing them helps Spanish speakers improve.
Now, let's go over some words that are difficult to pronounce for Spanish speakers.
Beach is a classic one. Spanish speakers often confuse it with another word.
Yes, pronouncing the long ee sound in beach is important to avoid misunderstandings.
Another difficult word is sheet. The long e sound again can cause pronunciation issues.
Exactly. Practice with these words helps Spanish speakers sound more comfortable in English.
Focus is another one. Spanish speakers may struggle with the ending cus sound.
Yes, the F and CUS sounds together can be tough, but practicing helps.
Comfortable is a hard word too. Many Spanish speakers pronounce all the syllables.
Yes. In English, we often say comfortable, making it sound much shorter than in Spanish.
It's all about learning the rhythm of English, which can be different from Spanish.
Exactly. Speaking English comfortably comes with practice and paying attention to sounds.
Alright, let's give some more pronunciation tips. The TH sound is a big challenge.
Yes, Spanish doesn't have that sound, so words like think or this are hard to say.
To practice TH, place your tongue between your teeth and blow air out gently.
That's a great tip. Another tricky sound is the V sound, like in very or victory.
Yes, Spanish speakers often pronounce V like B, but in English the V vibrates.
Exactly. Making that sound with your lower lip and teeth can make a big difference.
Hopefully, this should be an interesting video for Spanish speakers looking to improve.
Yes, and if you have any questions, you can comment below. We're happy to help.
Now let's move on to some tips for learning vocabulary more effectively.
A great way to learn is by connecting English words to things in your daily life.
For example, when cooking, use English words like knife, spoon, and stir.
Exactly. This means you're erasing any doubts you have about the language by using it daily.
Another helpful tip is using flashcards for tricky words, especially false friends.
Yes, flashcards unlock the ability to speak and remember words more quickly.
Alright, let's talk about some real-life examples of how Spanish speakers can practice.
When you go shopping, try reading labels in English and translating them mentally.
That's a great idea. Also, watch TV shows or movies in English with Spanish subtitles.
Exactly. Listening and reading at the same time helps you learn vocabulary and pronunciation.
Another tip is to set your phone or computer language to English to practice every day.
Yes, this simple change makes you interact with English constantly, even in daily tasks.
It's like turning your learning into an adventure, with new words at every step.
Exactly. And using these words in your conversations helps them stick in your memory.
Fluent in English is a goal for many Spanish speakers, and with these tips, it's achievable.
Yes, it takes time, but with practice, you can truly become fluent in English.
The last example is amazing because it shows how small changes lead to big progress.
And don't forget to subscribe if you want more tips for Spanish speakers learning English.
Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and keep practicing. We believe in you.
Yes, we've covered many common mistakes, false friends, and tricky pronunciation.
Let's give an overview of everything we talked about so far, shall we?
All right, one of the first things we covered was the confusion between do and make.
Exactly. Spanish speakers often mix these up because they both translate to hacer.
So in theory, remember do for tasks and make for creating something, like make dinner.
That's right. Now, we also touched on false friends, words that look similar but differ.
Yes, like actual. In Spanish, actual means current, but in English, it means real.
Exactly. And sensible in Spanish means sensitive, but in English, it means practical.
These false friends are easy to mix up, but knowing them unlocks the ability to speak clearly.
Another area we focused on was difficult pronunciation for Spanish speakers.
Right. Words like beach and sheet need special attention to avoid confusion.
Yes, it's the long ee sound that can be challenging. Practice makes it more comfortable.
Speaking of pronunciation, we also talked about the tricky th sound in words like think.
Yes, Spanish doesn't have the th sound, but practicing it helps become fluent in English.
Exactly. Just remember to place your tongue between your teeth to say words like this.
Now let's share a few more words that often confuse Spanish speakers with their sounds.
Focus is 1. The ending sound can be tough, but with practice, it becomes easier.
Yes. Another tricky word is comfortable. Many Spanish speakers pronounce all the syllables.
Right. In English, we often shorten it to comfortable. It takes practice to get it right.
Don't forget, we also talked about articles like the and a. They're used differently in English.
Yes. In Spanish, they often just say el or la. But in English, articles are more specific.
It's important to pay attention to them because they can change the meaning of a sentence.
Hopefully, this should be an interesting video for all of you who want custom lessons.
Yes. If you have any questions, you can comment below. We're always happy to help.
Actually, using these tips every day in small ways is the best way to improve your English.
Exactly. Simple steps like changing your phone to English unlocks the ability to practice daily.
Let's give one more example. Try using English at work when possible. Like saying meeting instead of reunion.
That's a great idea. Practicing at your job helps make English feel natural in daily life.
Yes. And remember, learning English is an adventure. Each step brings you closer to fluency.
Alright, I think we've covered most of the important points today. Any final thoughts?
Fluent in English is a goal for many Spanish speakers, and with these tips, it's achievable.
The last example is amazing because it shows how you can improve in little ways each day.
And don't forget to subscribe if you want more tips for Spanish speakers learning English.
Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and keep practicing. We know you can do it. Bye.